The internet has always been waiting for cracks in Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton's fairy tale. But what if the cracks didn't come from rumors? What if they came from Gwen, through vulnerable lyrics, pointed interviews, and moments that felt almost too honest? She may have exposed a side of Blake the public was never supposed to see. Something he kept quiet. Something that shifts the narrative from picture-perfect romance to something far more complicated. And once you connect the dots, the story doesn't feel nearly as polished as their anniversary posts. The romance no one saw coming. Back in 2011, Blake Shelton was already a heavyweight in country music. Fans knew his voice, radio loved his records, and Nashville respected his pen. But outside of that world, he wasn't exactly a household name yet. That changed the moment he took a red chair on the very first season of The Voice, sitting alongside Adam Levine, Christina Aguilera, and C.O. Green. What started as just another singing competition quickly turned into something bigger, and Blake slowly became one of its anchors. By 2014, the show decided to refresh the energy and brought in Gwen Stefani. She didn't just blend in, she made noise. The Washington Post even noted that she and Pharrell Williams practically stole the show during their debut. By then, Blake had become the breakout personality of the series, thanks in large part to his hilarious back-and-forth rivalry with Adam Levine. That playful bromance was pure entertainment. But to Gwen, Blake was still a stranger. She later admitted she hadn't really known who he was when she first joined the show. Once they started working together, though, she paid closer attention. She realized he wasn't just a funny guy in a swivel chair. He was a real songwriter with depth and years of experience. The more time they spent on set, the more she felt pulled toward him. She would later describe it as a magnetic kind of connection, something subtle but undeniable. While viewers at home were enjoying the playful banter between coaches on The Voice, Blake's personal life was quietly unraveling. In July 2015, news broke that he and Miranda Lambert were ending their marriage after 4 years. Their joint statement admitted that this was not the future they had envisioned. What shocked many people wasn't just a split, it was how quickly everything wrapped up. Reports indicated the divorce was finalized almost immediately after the public announcement. Blake later explained on the Bobby Bones show that with no children involved and a solid prenuptial agreement in place, the legal process moved fast. Within about 10 days, it was done. Just 1 month later, another headline hit. Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale, the frontman of Bush, announced their own divorce. And this wasn't a quiet separation. U.S. Weekly published a detailed report alleging that Rossdale had been involved with their children's nanny. Gwen later spoke openly about how painful and humiliating the experience was. In interviews with Glamour and Cosmopolitan, she explained that the public only saw a fraction of what really happened. Behind closed doors, she described months and months of emotional torture, things she believed most people wouldn't even believe if they knew the full story. The turning point came back on the set of The Voice. Blake had gathered the cast and crew to tell them about his split. After he finished speaking, Gwen approached him quietly, tears in her eyes, asking if they could talk privately. What he didn't realize in that moment was that she was living through the exact same storm. What started as supportive emails once a week slowly became 3 times a week. Before long, they were talking every day. Once they exchanged numbers, the connection deepened fast. Blake has since been very direct about what that period meant to him. He has openly said that Gwen saved his life. In the middle of a high-profile divorce, being able to confide in someone who truly understood the spotlight, the scrutiny, and the heartbreak made all the difference. Looking back, the timing almost feels unreal. 2 global music stars, both navigating painful divorces from fellow musicians, sitting side by side on a television show built around turning chairs and big voices. Gwen later recalled the moment Blake announced his split to the other coaches. She said she felt exposed, almost frozen because she was secretly going through the same thing. During the blind auditions, Blake walked over to her chair, something he had never done before, looking completely devastated. That was when she knew she needed to speak to him. Blake remembers catching a glimpse of her teary eyes and assuming she simply felt bad for him. He had no idea they were standing in the same emotional space. That shared understanding became the foundation of their bond. As they leaned on each other behind the scenes, the shift in their chemistry became noticeable on camera. By October 2015, rumors were swirling everywhere. When Entertainment Tonight asked Gwen directly if they were dating, she laughed it off. Blake also brushed off speculation online, joking that the things he read about himself were wild. But Hollywood gossip rarely slows down. In November, the two were spotted at a Halloween party in Hollywood. Inside, they reportedly kept things careful and low-key. But as they left, cameras caught them holding hands, at least until they noticed the paparazzi and quickly separated. Soon after, news released photos showing Blake's arm around Gwen's shoulder and his hand resting at her waist. Even with the growing evidence, Gwen continued to downplay the situation. In an interview with Carson Daly, she laughed off the idea that they were a couple, insisting they were just trying to have fun. Once those Halloween photos hit the internet, the rumors didn't just grow, they exploded. Instead of panicking, Gwen leaned into the moment. During an appearance on Air with Ryan Seacrest, she played it cool, jokingly pretending not to know who Blake was. Ryan pressed her about the rumors, but she deflected, suggesting NBC might have cooked it up as a publicity stunt. But when asked directly if they were dating, she refused to answer. A few days later, Blake's representative confirmed they were officially dating. Even then, neither of them fully understood where this was heading. Blake later admitted he didn't immediately see forever. He even joked that in the beginning they were just hanging out. Gwen also acknowledged the rebound talk in her song Truth. What started as casual quickly proved to be something much deeper. At one point, Gwen even told Blake she couldn't talk to him anymore because everything felt overwhelming. Blake didn't exactly follow that request. Instead, he wrote Go Ahead and Break My Heart, sending it to her as a duet idea. She sent back a verse, and the connection reopened. Their red carpet debut came at the 2016 Vanity Fair Oscar party. Gwen arrived in a striking red gown, Blake in jeans, boots, and a blazer, opposites in style, perfectly in sync in spirit. Later, Gwen called it their first public date. Music followed romance, and they released Go Ahead and Break My Heart on Blake's album, If I'm Honest. The song reflected their real emotions, raw and unfiltered. Blake later said he was at rock bottom when he met Gwen, describing her as someone who helped pull him through it. By 2017, Blake was named People's Sexiest Man Alive, joking that the magazine must have run out of options. By 2020, lockdown pushed them together on Blake's Oklahoma ranch, where instead of strain, their relationship strengthened. That year, they bought a $13.2 million home in Los Angeles and began building a shared life. In October 2020, Gwen posted a photo revealing her engagement ring, and Blake confirmed it publicly, thanking her for saving his life. They delayed the wedding due to the pandemic, eventually planning a ceremony at Blake's ranch, even building a custom chapel on the property. By 2021, speculation about a secret wedding began when Gwen was spotted wearing what looked like a wedding band.